You charged it, you cleansed it, you slept with it under your pillow, you whispered your desires into it. So why did your crystal suddenly feel dead? Why did the energy disappear? Why does a crystal that once felt magnetic, warm, alive, and emotionally connected, suddenly feel heavy, silent, or completely empty? Here's the truth almost nobody in the spiritual community talks about. Crystals do not stop working. But they absolutely can become energetically overloaded, disconnected from your frequency, spiritually exhausted, emotionally contaminated, or completely blocked by your own subconscious resistance. And sometimes, the crystal isn't the problem. You are. Not because you're bad, not because you're low vibration. But because energy work is deeper than carrying a pretty stone in your pocket. Most people use crystals like decoration. Very few understand how crystals actually interact with human consciousness, emotional fields, nervous system energy, intention programming, and spiritual absorption. And once you understand this, you'll never look at crystals the same way again. Because some crystals absorb, some amplify, some protect, some mirror your energy back to you, and some become so saturated with emotional residue, they literally stop responding until they're reset properly. And no, rinsing them under tap water for 10 seconds is not always enough. Some crystals carry years of emotional imprinting, some absorb the energy of every person who touched them before you, some silently hold grief, fear, anxiety, heartbreak, jealousy, obsession, trauma, spiritual attacks, or emotional chaos. Especially if they were bought from crowded markets, crystal shops, online sellers, warehouses, or handled by hundreds of people before reaching you. That means when you first touch a crystal, you may not even be feeling your energy. You may be feeling trapped energetic residue. And this is where most people unknowingly disconnect from their crystals. Crystals are not magic toys. They are energetic conductors. Just like your phone stores information, crystals store frequencies. Everything in existence carries vibration, thoughts, emotions, trauma, words, intentions, fear, love, anger, gratitude, desperation. Everything leaves an energetic imprint. And crystals are incredibly sensitive to those imprints. That's why some people instantly feel peace while holding certain stones, and others suddenly feel emotional, sleepy, anxious, overwhelmed, or strangely emotional around specific crystals. Because crystals don't just project energy. They interact with energy. Your body is electrical, your heart emits frequency, your brain emits waves, your nervous system reacts to emotional vibration constantly. Crystals work through resonance, not fantasy. And when that resonance becomes blocked, the crystal can feel disconnected. But here's the deeper truth most people avoid talking about. Sometimes your crystal becomes quiet because it already did its job. Some crystals enter your life for specific emotional cycles. A breakup, depression, spiritual awakening, healing trauma, protection during chaos, manifestation periods, inner transformation. And once that energetic lesson ends, the crystal's intensity naturally decreases. Not because it died. Because the phase shifted. But there are also situations where crystals genuinely become energetically overwhelmed. Especially highly absorbent stones. Like black tourmaline, smoky quartz, amethyst, or selenite. These stones absorb emotional density constantly. Stress, negativity, arguments, anxiety, jealousy, emotional breakdowns. And if you never reset them properly, eventually the energetic flow becomes dull, muddy, heavy, or stagnant. That's when people say, "My crystal stopped working." But the reality is, your crystal is overloaded. The real signs your crystal needs resetting. A crystal needing reset doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes the signs are subtle. You suddenly stop feeling emotionally connected to it. The crystal feels unusually heavy in your hand, your intuition stops responding around it, meditation feels mentally noisy, your manifestation work feels emotionally blocked, you feel irritated wearing it. You forget about it constantly. It starts disappearing repeatedly. Or strangely, you feel exhausted after holding it. That last one is important. Because overloaded crystals can sometimes mirror back accumulated energetic clutter. Especially when they've absorbed intense emotional frequencies for too long. And here's another truth spiritual influencers rarely mention. Your emotional state affects crystal performance massively. If your mind is filled with desperation, obsession, fear, control, anxiety, or emotional dependency, the energetic connection weakens. Because crystals amplify energy. They don't replace inner alignment. If someone holds a manifestation crystal while internally thinking, "It's not working. I'm scared. What if nothing changes? I need results now," then the crystal amplifies emotional chaos instead of clarity. This is why some people become spiritually dependent on crystals. They stop using crystals as energetic support and start treating them like emotional survival tools. That creates energetic imbalance. Crystals work best when paired with grounded intention, emotional regulation, subconscious alignment, and genuine inner belief. Not panic. Not obsession. Not constant checking for signs. The biggest mistake people make while cleansing crystals. Now here's where things become even deeper. Most people cleanse crystals mechanically. Moon water, salt water, incense, sound bowls, sunlight. And yes, those methods can help. But cleansing without intention is incomplete. Because crystals respond strongly to consciousness. If you cleanse a crystal while mentally distracted, emotionally chaotic, scrolling your phone, overthinking, or rushing, the energetic reset becomes weak. Energy follows attention. That's why ancient spiritual practices were intentional. Slow, focused, conscious. Not rushed TikTok rituals. Real crystal resetting requires energetic presence. And sometimes, the most powerful reset method is not external cleansing. It's energetic silence. Leaving the crystal alone. No manifestation pressure, no desperation, no emotional dumping. Just silence. Because crystals need energetic recalibration too. How to properly reset a crystal? The first step is disconnection. Stop emotionally clinging to results. This instantly changes your energetic field. Now hold the crystal quietly. No music, no distractions, no forced spirituality. Just breathe slowly. And ask yourself honestly, what energy have I been feeding into this crystal? Fear, neediness, sadness, control, healing, love, peace. Because your intention matters more than aesthetic rituals. Now choose a cleansing method based on the crystal type. Some crystals should never touch water because they can physically damage. Like selenite or malachite. Some crystals recharge beautifully under moonlight. Especially intuitive stones like moonstone and labradorite. Some respond strongly to sound vibration. Some prefer earth grounding. Yes, literally burying them in soil temporarily so the earth can neutralize accumulated energy. And one of the most underrated reset methods. Human intention. Sit quietly with the crystal. Place it between your palms. And speak clearly. I release all stagnant energy from this crystal. I reset this stone to its pure natural frequency. Only aligned, peaceful, supportive energy may remain. Words carry vibration. Your nervous system responds to spoken frequency. Your subconscious responds to repetition. And crystals respond to focused intention more than people realize. The dark side nobody talks about. Now let's talk about something most spiritual creators avoid completely. Sometimes people become addicted to spiritual tools because they don't trust themselves. They keep buying more crystals, more rituals, more candles, more healing tools. But internally, they still feel powerless. That creates energetic dependency. And eventually the crystal connection weakens because the relationship becomes fear-based instead of conscious. A crystal should support your energy, not replace your inner power. Because the strongest frequency generator in your entire reality is still your own consciousness. Not the stone. The stone amplifies you. There's something even deeper most people never realize about crystals. Crystals remember you. Not in a human way, not emotionally like people, but energetically. The more you hold a crystal during intense emotional states, the more it becomes connected to your energetic signature. That's why some crystals suddenly feel warm in your hand, why some feel emotionally comforting, why some almost feel alive. You're not imagining it. Repetition creates energetic imprinting. If you cry while holding a crystal every night, it absorbs emotional frequency repeatedly. If you meditate with intention daily, it becomes aligned with your nervous system rhythm. If you constantly panic while manifesting, the crystal begins holding unstable emotional charge. And eventually, if too much emotional intensity builds up without proper release, the connection becomes distorted. This is why some people suddenly feel emotionally drained around crystals they once loved deeply. Because the crystal is no longer carrying clean energy. It's carrying accumulated emotional residue. And here's the shocking part. Sometimes the crystal starts reflecting your own unhealed subconscious patterns back to you. That's why certain crystals mysteriously crack, disappear, feel uncomfortable, or suddenly stop attracting you. Sometimes it's energetic overload. Sometimes it's spiritual redirection. And sometimes, the crystal is showing you a version of yourself you've been avoiding. Why some crystals break unexpectedly. This topic scares people, but it needs to be said honestly. Not every broken crystal means bad luck. Sometimes crystals physically crack because of pressure, temperature, or natural fragility. But energetically, there are moments when a crystal breaks after intense emotional cycles, spiritual transitions, grief, trauma release, or major life shifts. Many energy workers believe crystals can absorb energetic pressure over time. Especially during emotional breakdowns, spiritual awakenings, manifestation obsession, toxic relationships, periods of depression, heavy anxiety cycles, intense shadow work. And when the energetic saturation becomes too intense, some stones fracture. Not because they're cursed. Not because something evil happened. But because energy was moving heavily. This is especially common with emotionally absorbent stones. And no one talks about how emotionally attached people become to broken crystals. Some people panic immediately. My protection is gone. My manifestation failed. Something bad is coming. No. Calm down. Fear itself creates more energetic distortion than the broken crystal ever could. Sometimes a crystal breaking simply means its energetic role in your life changed. Why buying more crystals won't fix everything. This is where spiritual consumerism becomes dangerous. People keep collecting crystals hoping the next stone will finally fix their life. Money problems, love problems, self-worth issues, loneliness, fear, emotional emptiness. But crystals are amplifiers, not replacements for inner transformation. A person can own 50 crystals and still remain emotionally disconnected from themselves. Because healing is not decoration. Healing is awareness. And one deeply connected crystal is more powerful than 20 random crystals bought impulsively during emotional desperation. The spiritual industry rarely says this because selling more crystals is profitable. But real energy work is not about owning the biggest collection. It's about conscious connection. Some of the most spiritually aligned people work with only 1 or 2 stones for years. Because depth matters more than quantity. The most powerful way to recharge a crystal. Now listen carefully. The strongest way to recharge a crystal is not always moonlight. Not incense. Not expensive rituals. It's emotional coherence. When your thoughts, emotions, nervous system, and intention become aligned, your energetic field stabilizes. And stable energy creates stronger crystal resonance. This is why crystals feel more active during moments of genuine peace, clarity, gratitude, love, grounded confidence, and emotional openness. Not because the crystal magically changed. Because your frequency changed. Most people try manifesting while internally terrified. That creates energetic contradiction. One part of the mind says, I trust. Another part screams, what if I fail? Crystals amplify dominant emotional energy, not fake affirmations repeated without belief. And this is exactly why emotional regulation matters in spiritual work. Breathing deeply matters, sleep matters, mental clarity matters, your nervous system matters. A dysregulated nervous system creates chaotic energetic output constantly. And chaotic energy weakens intentional manifestation work. The ancient understanding most people forgot. Ancient civilizations respected crystals differently. They didn't use them as aesthetic trends. They treated them as sacred energetic tools. Used carefully, intentionally, consciously. Many ancient healers understood something modern spirituality forgot completely. Energy work requires discipline. Not obsession. Not dependency. Not constant stimulation. Silence was part of spiritual power. Stillness was part of spiritual power. Self-awareness was part of spiritual power. And the deepest crystal connection happens when you stop forcing energy and start listening to it. Because intuition becomes clearer in silence. That's why sometimes the best thing you can do for a crystal is absolutely nothing. No rituals. No panic cleansing. No endless manifestation commands. Just space, stillness, and energetic honesty. The final reset ritual. Tonight. Take the crystal you feel disconnected from. Turn off distractions. Sit alone in silence. Hold the crystal gently. And instead of asking, "Why aren't you working?" ask, "What have I been energetically feeding into you?" Then breathe slowly. No rushing. No forcing emotion. And say, "I release pressure. I release fear. I release desperation. I allow this energy to reset naturally. I reconnect with clarity, peace, and grounded intention." Then place the crystal beside you. And stop chasing signs. Because the moment you stop obsessing over energy, you finally become sensitive enough to feel it again. And that is the part most people never understand about crystals. They were never meant to replace your power. They were meant to remind you of it. If this video changed the way you see crystals forever, then don't stay silent in the comments. Tell me honestly, have you ever felt a crystal suddenly become heavy, emotionally strange, disappear repeatedly, crack unexpectedly, or completely lose its energy? Because what you're about to hear in the next part about crystal consciousness, spiritual attachment, energy transfer between people, and dangerous manifestation obsession. Almost nobody is ready for that conversation.